Good afternoon from paradise. Good afternoon from paradise. This is David Hartman, owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency. I'm your host today on the Enjoy the Journey Travel Show. In today's episode number 1, I'm here with Harry Tieford, and we have special guest Elizabeth from the president of the Key Largo Chamber of Commerce. She'll be joining us later in the show to talk about some exciting things happening here in the Florida Keys and providing important information that you guys have to know, especially with the current environment down here. So, but first off, who am I? Why am I here? Why is Harry here? Why are we all here? First off, I met Harry about a year ago, and actually the Chamber of Commerce indirectly connected us because we met through the Parrots Club, and I pitched him on doing a travel show, and we decided to launch it on Radio A1A, and that's why we're here today. And I am known as the travel agent who asks 2 questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Which is a loaded question these days. First off, let's play some housekeeping, which is our wonderful sponsors here on Radio A1A. First, I want to give a shout out to Victor Figueroa from Keys Smartphone Repair. Vic's my man. See him all over town. Then Chip Bell, author of the Jake Sullivan series, chipbellauthor.com. Then, of course, there's a show I'm very proud to be on numerous times is Michael Marinelli, the real estate conch. He also has a real estate show here, and he is the realestateconch.com. And then there's the wonderful Sammy Mariganzo Mays, author. And actually, I have one of her books right here. You can see it right now. Damn the Carnations, Full Speed Ahead. Wonderful read, by the way. Then there's Jim LaPointe, my good old friend Jim LaPointe, also from the Pirates on the Water. Talk to Jim for the best mortgage rates in the Keys. Then, of course, the brand new magazine, I actually have it on my counter downstairs, Destination Florida, Florida Keys and Key West, the in-room and 5-star resort magazine in the Keys. And last but not least is Monroe County Bail Bonds, come on vacation, go home on probation. And probably one of the best taglines in business, I think. So we have a full show today. Thank you for spending the next hour with us talking about travel in general. There is a lot to discuss, a lot going on in the Keys. And I do want to talk more about myself since this is our show number 1. This will be a weekly show every day at 2 o'clock right near, for now, on Zoom, Radio A1A, and future on-site locations coming up. So I kind of alluded at the beginning how I met Harry and how I got here. How did I get to travel and how did I get to the Keys? It's interesting. I was in love with scuba diving right after I took my first dive in about 2002. And I heard the Keys was a phenomenal travel destination for scuba diving. So I decided to look for real estate down here and found a wonderful home that I'm sitting here today in Key Largo. And I decided, hey, let's buy the house, start diving, keep it as a second home. And after 6 months, I came in full-time and said, hey, I'm moving down to the Keys. So diving brought me here, but I actually stayed long-term for the community. And that's why I'm here today. And I do own a travel agency, Fantastic Endeavors. You can find me at bucketwishtrip.com. And I fell in love with travel through scuba diving and then turned my lifestyle into a business. First as a scuba instructor doing adventure travel dive training. And then I bought into a franchise, which broadened my horizons on cruises, tours, hotels, resorts, and everything to do with travel. And now I really specialize in custom luxury travel. I can book packages for anything from cruises to hotels, but I really specialize in niche requests for things down here and all over the world. So I came up with Bucket Wish Trip because everyone knows bucket list is pretty generic. So I have those 2 questions I started the show with, which is, what is your bucket list trip and where do you wish you were right now? Put them together. That is, what is your bucket wish trip? So that is the tagline of my business. Then enjoy the journey is my vision. That's the name of the show. I think everyone should travel. It's transformational. Right now it's difficult, we know, but that's okay. It's all going to come back soon. And when we travel again, always enjoy the journey, enjoy what you're doing right now and in the future. And travel really helps transform people. So that's kind of where I got to here as far as my business. I've been in town 16 years in Key Largo, a wonderful house in Key Largo, Winston Waterways, and overlooks the kayaking trails of John Pennekamp State Park, and someday I'll do a show maybe with that in the background. And I met Harry, had a Pirates in the Water happy hour just over a year ago, Harry. And I said, hey, you ever thought about doing cruises for DJs or maybe some of your artists? And he's like, yeah, I have. Give me a call. And right away we hit it off. And he introduced me to a phenomenal up-and-coming national recording artist, Donovan Lee Carpenter. And Donovan is a big cruiser. And we now have the Donovan Lee Carpenter fan cruise going off May 31st to Bermuda, which is still scheduled, still on schedule. We have a wonderful group going. Donovan's playing on board 2 private venues and actually 1 public venue, which is my doing. And we look forward to Harry and I doing this with numerous other people following the show, artists, authors, things like that. And because group travel is a great way to enjoy the artist, it's also a great way to experience fans hanging out together. So that's how I met Harry. And then of late, been appearing on some of the shows, like Mark Mills appearing later tonight at 5 o'clock, View from Paradise. And also, as I mentioned, Michael Marinelli. I really got excited about hosting my own show. So this is number 1, plan to be here every week and having a fantastic time. And remember always to enjoy the journey. So as far as what's happening in the Keys right now, I am going to have Elizabeth from the Key Largo Chamber of Commerce later, as I mentioned. I'm going to save a lot of those either questions or things going on to that. We're going to keep it very positive. You can always go on the news today and find out all the negative stuff. I'm more of a pragmatist and optimist as far as what we're doing in the Keys. And Elizabeth's going to answer questions. What can we do right now in the Keys as a visitor, as a resident? We're also going to talk about some very positive trends in the Keys, some awards the Keys have won about travel. So that's coming up later in the show. As far as my view of travel, status of tourism here, it's still fine. It's going to be quiet for a little bit, and it's kind of probably a month early for us, but people still want to travel. And as far as the global view is, travel is difficult right now for a lot of reasons, but people still want to travel. So don't put your travel off if you have it scheduled in the future. If you were canceled on travel, I understand. That does happen. I have a lot of clients right now who are dealing with that. Reschedule that travel. Do not ever cancel travel just because you're concerned about problem right now. Always say, okay, I understand this is a temporary issue. We're going to put it off till later on. And for right now, for any international travel, I recommend probably, early summer, late spring, probably the earliest I'd go right now. And then definitely the late summer and fall is going to be fine for all travel worldwide. So we are in a very different time right now. I understand that. And not my ideal, Harry, to start my show on a day like this where we're all going from Zoom. We had some phenomenal on-site locations lined up, especially the Bug Club in Alvarado. But they will still be there when we're off doing these measures we have to do to keep everybody safe. And we understand why we're doing them, and that's okay. So, Harry, I think we talked about you having the chat open today. And I think yes. I kind of went through my story pretty quickly because, I'm not a big one to talk about myself for too long. So, and Elizabeth's not coming on until about 2:25.
Well, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Why don't we chit chat a little bit? I mean, okay. I do want to talk about Donovan's cruise because that is still scheduled. So actually, let me do that first. I did kind of gloss over that and who sure. Donovan is, and because that's a he's a sponsor. That cruise is listed on your channels. So Donovan is a phenomenal person, and I need to emphasize that if you don't know who he is, just listen to Harry's Trop 40 every Sunday afternoon. He one or two almost every week in that Trop 40, and he's really caught a following, Trop Americana. Not bad for an artist whose roots are country music, and he's getting a phenomenal following in the country music industry, including the Josie Award, I believe, this end of last year, which is the top award for unsigned independent artists. And it was actually in Dollywood. He actually won the award. And I just love Donovan and Crystal, his wife, and their whole fan and family, and their Cooler Brands, which is their fan funding network. He's their true fan funded artist. He actually recorded his first album from just true fan funding. It's kind of like crowdsourcing meets network marketing, the Cooler Brands network. And they really love traveling, they love cruising. And we worked hard starting last May of putting this cruise together for them to Bermuda, May 31st to June 7th, 2020. It is still scheduled, it's still going to happen. Things will be okay to travel by then. And it's going to be a fantastic cruise. And I think this is something that Donovan's going to do every year. And it's on the Norwegian Encore, which I was on in November, by the way, which for its inaugural sailing. Fantastic brand new cruise ship from Norwegian. And it's going to do one of my favorite cruise itineraries, which is a 7-night cruise round trip, New York to Bermuda. And in Bermuda, you spend 3 days, 2 overnights on King's Wharf, Bermuda, which is on the western side of the island. And it's a really fun cruise because the gangway is open 24/7. So you can go out, hit the bars, hit the historic towns in Bermuda, sleep on the beach, and there's no rushing back to the cruise ship because the cruise ship's still there and they're open for you. I came back at 2 a.m. once after hitting the bars with some clients, and they're like, "Hey, welcome back, Mr. Hartman." Like, good to be here. And it's just that kind of environment when you're on the cruise there. And the biggest knock on cruising is when you go somewhere like in the Caribbean is like, oh yeah, I had no time for my excursion. I had to rush back to the ship. You don't have that problem in Bermuda. And Bermuda is a fantastic destination. It's not just a cruise destination. A lot of Caribbean islands you go to, they're nice, but they're small. There's not much to do beyond some of the top excursions or hitting the beach or the shops. Bermuda is the only place I've been in the Caribbean between diving and cruising where, even outside the Caribbean, that after a cruise there, I wanted to go back and spend a whole week on land because it was just such a nice island. It's very affluent. They have an amazing banking community there. It keeps everything clean and safe. Amazing, famous pink sand beaches. It is true, they're pink and they are phenomenal. And an amazing transportation system that takes you wherever you want to go. You can buy a pass like $30 for 3 days, and they have a bus stop and 2 ferry boats right off the cruise ship. And from there, you can get anywhere you want on the island. And sometimes you got to make multiple stops on like a bus, but overall, you'll get where you want to go for that flat fee for 3 days, which is fantastic. So the Donovan fans are very excited about their cruise. I'm really excited that I worked hard to get him appearances on board. He's playing twice in the Cavern Club, which is where the Beatles cover band plays. The Cavern Club refers to the place where the Beatles got their start in Liverpool, and they've now franchised that concept, and they've now put it on bars and cruise ships. It's pretty interesting. So they have this phenomenal cover band playing. On the off nights, Donovan's going to play there on dinner time for 2 nights, I think, on the first night of the cruise and then the last night of the cruise. And then middle of the cruise, he's going to play in their Texas Q Smokehouse where country bands play. And that's a public appearance. And that's fantastic. I wasn't sure if I could pull it off for him, but I worked hard with my rep in the cruise line. And Norwegian is allowing him to play to the public, which is for free just as a guest of the cruise ship, which is going to be a fantastic experience. Fantastic exposure, and it's going to be a really wonderful time for the fans there to make new fans on board. And Donovan says whenever they go on a cruise or go traveling, they always multiply their fan base exponentially. And I could imagine they're all fun people. So I went to the as Harry did too. I went to the Cooler Brands annual convention in Orlando this year. It was based in Orlando this year, and I got to hang out with hundreds of these people who helped fund his record. And they're just phenomenal people. And I actually became a member under Crystal, the wife of Donovan, because I think it's just a great organization. And I really appreciate what they do. So then the Donovan Lee Carpenter Cruise is DonovanLeeCruise.com for information. We're still taking reservations because it's pretty far off from now. It's May 31st to June 7th, 2020. And it's open bar. It's a phenomenal time. And that's going to be round trip New York City, Pier 88, which is the west side of Manhattan, to Bermuda, King's Wharf, Bermuda, for 3 nights and 2 days overnights. And Donovan and his wife Crystal will be there among some other very cool, fun fans. It's going to be a fantastic time. So, and Harry and I are excited about that cruise because that was a kind of our first introduction to working together. And now here we have this fantastic travel show. So we have a lot to do together.
We have a lot to do, and welcome to the family of Radio A1A broadcasters, Mr. David Hartman. Enjoy the journey, and I want to thank you so much for being patient, because we try to do things with as much quality as possible, and then we had this issue come along where everybody's now broadcasting from their home or from a remote location, and I'm with you, man. I'd much rather be over there at the Bug Pub, enjoying a fresh coconut in the Florida Keys and looking at Betsy out there guarding the front gate. Betsy's the largest lobster art artwork in the world. David, I want to ask you a question personally. When you said, I noticed that Donovan's Cruise is in later, about 3/4 of the way into May before that cruise. What is it, the 21st? Is that correct?
May 31st.
31st. Oh, it is. So there's a lot of time left for things to happen. Let me put that cruise. I'll put that on the screen for you. I have that. Yeah. I have that ability here somewhere. That it's still open for bookings. Is that right?
Yes. I mean, right now the cruises are under a temporary suspension for obvious reasons, and I don't want to go into the current news too much. What's happening? I mean, we're here to be positive today, but yeah, that all ends probably most likely mid-April. Maybe if it gets dragged out to May 1st. So this is the end of May.
Well,
May 31st. I mean, we're expecting everything to be fine there. And honestly, if it gets rescheduled, they're still going to do it. So, but I don't see that happening as of this point. And honestly, all the vendors, which I'll talk about more as we answer some questions, because I saw some of the questions coming up.
Yes.
It's like, what do I do in my travel? Like, you are best off doing nothing, because all the suppliers are being more flexible.
Yes.
If they have to move you versus you moving your dates because you're concerned is you're lacking peace of mind.
Yes.
And trust me, it's hard to keep peace of mind right now. But so Donovan's crew, they told him, said, hey, everyone had a concern a week ago. I'm like, hey, actually a month ago. And I'm like, no worries, you're good. Because if it comes to moving the cruise to a different day, it's going to be easy to do that. And then versus you canceling and maybe incurring penalties or losing your investment of time and money into that travel plan. So they're fine. But as of right now, they're fine. And I don't see any issue. All the suppliers are dealing with what they're dealing with now. They'll have a very easy way to move that date if they needed to. But I don't see that happening right now.
Well, my comment is this: if it were a stock you were buying, at this point in time, stocks are low, and the president said last night that watch out, because when this is all over, this whole world, everything's going to zoom up in price. And if you made the mistake of canceling your Donovan Lee Carpenter cruise now, and you try to book that thing in late April or May, when it is all over and you're ready for that, you've been planning it all for a year. If you canceled, to rebook that, it possibly could be a whole lot more money. I'm a market-driven type of person. I like to buy things when you can buy them where it's, half price or a quarter of the price or 20% off. Is there a way for you to speculate with someone on an October trip, a December trip, a next year an April trip? Is there some way that you can do that? Are there deposits that you can put on those things that are refundable in some form, or a small deposit?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, all the suppliers are being very flexible right now. And pretty much, especially when it comes to cruises and most travel, except for air travel, the money you put down, if it's a deposit form, is refundable, or is an option to pay a lower rate for a non-refundable deposit. But it's usually not a lot of money when it's in that kind of form. And then as we talk about later, as we answer some questions, and always get travel insurance to protect your investment. So right now, there are some people, let me back up a second. So the way I see things right now is I'm fortunate to be a travel agent today versus September 11th. And I wasn't involved in travel then. I wasn't sure what I was doing then, but I wasn't doing much. But I have colleagues in the business 30 years. They said, this seems worse overall as of, hitting all of travel worldwide. But they remember losing like years of bookings because no one was going to ever fly ever again after September 11th, 2011.
They thought.
Where now I have anyone past July 1st is barely contacted me. And honestly, people who are affected by current affairs, they are being moved to later dates in fall, no questions asked. There's a few that had more extensive trips and they're older, so they're concerned. They're the minority. I mean, everyone else is, people still want to travel. They understand they have to wait, and they understand this is temporary. Or September 11th, again, even though it didn't impact every kind of travel, it barely affected the cruises except for volume. There was no worldwide stoppage on all travel like it was, except for air for a little while. But it did put a fear in people that really hurt the market probably more in some senses. So you can look at it 10 different ways. As far as I'm concerned, people still want to travel. There may be some wait and see, but that will come back. So when's the best time to book your next travel? Now, because there are people waiting and seeing. who will come back to the market in a month or two when they realize everything's fine and that they were just being anxious and now they're comfortable. So for speculation, yes, if this was a stock market, it's a buyer's market, because these cruise lines, especially, and other travel suppliers, all suppliers, I mean, hell, Sandals Resort, the trademark for resorts in the Caribbean, are closing until starting end of the week. They're closing until mid-May. All resorts, 25 in the Caribbean. That's crazy. So they'll be eager to get your business back, and they're eager to get your business now because they know there's apprehensive people. So when people start coming back, a herd mentality, the rates are going to go up. So now is the best time to plan, even those apprehension, and honestly, now is the best time to work with someone like myself who's a busy person, because things are a little slower right now. I mean, it's busy the first 2 weeks handling people rescheduling, and now we're working on some long-term things. But overall, it's a good time to reach out to your travel agent, your professional who knows how to handle things for travel.
That is a good answer. I'm having some issues. We're still playing the Donovan Cruise on our video, but everybody on Radio A1A is enjoying this. Beverly Higgins says, y'all keep coming. Best medicine ever out there for those people watching you live today, Dave. And when I refresh this button here now and then, I'm hoping to get your face back on there for them. Good-looking man, isn't he, guys? You enjoy travel, don't you?
I do. And I basically turn my lifestyle into a business. It's a great question. Everyone's like, hey, you enjoy travel. So what's your favorite destination? And it's like, what's your bucket list destination? It depends on, what I'm doing and who I'm with and, what I want to go. Like there's a lot of cruise ships I haven't been on yet. It doesn't matter where they're going. A lot of places like Australia, New Zealand, it's on my short list. And if I'm scuba diving, well, then definitely Australia, New Zealand, but also that puts other destinations into the kind of foray of discussion. And I think the best time now people can do is they watch this show and they sit back and enjoy their time alone or time just with loved ones, is think about your bucket list trip. Think about where you wish you were right now. I mean, you don't have the normal distractions of every day. Some of us do, like Harry and I. But I mean, this is a good time to think long-term about what's happening. Whatever we're going through now is short term, and hopefully be shorter term than we all think. Some people are saying. So now is a good time to think about even put inquiries out there like, hey, I'm thinking about going somewhere in the fall or somewhere next year. I think about doing my bucket list trip to safari in Tanzania or South Africa. Whatever you want to do, you have to start putting pen to paper and writing it down, and then consult a professional. And my current business here, I'm in a beautiful loft. Again, today wasn't the right day to do it. Future shows, we'll do a tour of my office, which is phenomenal here in Key Largo. And right now, if I turn around, I'm overlooking the mangrove trails, John Pennekamp State Park. I got a gorgeous second floor view of my living room down below. So being in home working is the norm for me. And then being on virtual meetings, I've always done, because I'm on 2-3 webinars a day sometimes for travel. I do a lot of my meetings virtually too with clients, or with I do a lot of corporate travel. A lot of my corporate groups, they're not easy to meet in person. They're long distance, so we end up doing virtual meetings. So I'm familiar with Zoom, phenomenal platform, and I want to buy their stock right now because everything I go on, 3 meetings today were all Zoom, and they're all doing the premium packages. And go to meeting, go to webinars, all those platforms I've done. They all have their strengths. They all have their flaws, I will say, but I think Zoom is the best for this format for our show and for this station, because it is phenomenal with media, probably better more so others. I think GoToMeeting is probably better for large school conference calls if you're not worried about video, but I think Zoom is the best for actually, video. So for me, it's been a very small adjustment. I mean, there are some things I enjoy doing locally that I can't do for a while, but that's okay because they'll be back.
Absolutely. Our programming is only as good as the internet where you are, David, where I am down here in Islamorada. You live in Key Largo. I live in Islamorada, which is about 15 miles, 16, 15 miles, something like that, away. So your internet could be fair. Mine is really good. But those virtual broadcasts that are coming to you, and you're seeing them on Facebook and social media, and they're coming from places that may not have internet. And also it's dependent upon the listener or viewer's internet, whether it downloads, and does not hesitate or skip. And there's a lot of factors in it, and we're working on this end to our end better, as you know, for the Enjoy the Journey luxury travel show, right? Luxury travel? What is the difference? What is the difference? If someone's expecting to go on a luxury travel trip, I know the difference could be possibly that you probably have a higher price.
Well, yeah. So luxury travel. I think our guest is arriving. Fantastic.
Yeah, there she is.
Luxury travel means many things to many, many people. So, like for example, I could book you on a 3-night cruise where you're going for $500 a person, but the person in the Royal Suite is paying $3,000 a person. To them, even for 3 nights, it's a luxury experience. So it's very subjective. But the way I view it is because I specialize and I excel best at custom travel, the big ticket items. I'm a bucket list travel expert because I've proven my trademark in that industry. And I focus on suppliers that cater to that trademark. What does that mean? Safaris. I send a client to the Middle East for 40 days, everything, every single day, custom. I've done custom dive trips, custom golf trips, custom groups. So to me, it's custom, but at a very high level where amenities that you receive are very, very discriminated. It's what you want to be pampered. And again, that could just mean a few extra strawberries in your room. It just depends on the client.
Yeah.
So, but I like the market where it's going because it's also a growing market, and the suppliers involved in it are very, very credible.
Add alcohol, add local flavor, add gourmet experiences, add limousines, add balloon rides, whatever turns you on. Luxury travel is beyond the normal fare that's offered by the cruise ships or by normal franchised travel agents. And I know we got a couple of minutes and we're going to bring Elizabeth in from the Chamber of Commerce of Key Largo, but you are what's called an independent travel agent, like we are an independent radio station, right?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm independent. I do belong to a consortium named Travel Leaders, but that's just an affiliation to provide more credibility with my suppliers. I was part of a franchise for 12 years, which was a positive relationship, but there was just certain things I wanted to do and certain things I was already doing that didn't really fit with their leisure model. So I do a lot of things at Walt Disney World, the Disney properties. I do a lot of corporate travel. It just didn't fit with what they do as a brand. And I want to do things beyond just what their name was. And so I went independent last May. It's almost been a year. So Fantastic Endeavors is a corporate name I've always owned. I just now trade under that name. Then I came up with Bucket Wish Trip as kind of a new niche kind of tagline under my brand. It was easier to spell than Fantastic Endeavors in an email. Everyone always misspells Endeavors, by the way. so I came up with Bucket List Trip, and people love it, and I'm working on actually trademarking it because it is unique versus Bucket List Trip. So, yes, I'm an independent travel agent, and I cater to the independent traveler.
Independent traveler, and you can take luxury to a new level. I know you can. You've done it. You've done it for people just wanting to come to the Keys, haven't you? Key Largo.
Oh yeah, down here, and I love the trends down here with the hotels because we are pushing the last few years higher and higher end hotels. We haven't talked a lot about the Keys, which we're going to do next with Elizabeth coming on the line here, because we've been talking about myself and it's our first show. So, but yes, I love what's happened down here, and I love what continues to happen. The opening of Playa Largo, the opening of bungalows, the improvements with existing roads. Irma was not a very good thing here, but I tell you, we got some great improved resorts out of Irma and what's happened down here. And because of it, occupancy is up, room rates are up. It's been a trend that helps all of us out down here. And I can custom package for people. I can put them into a suite I'd say bungalows at Playa Largo, and then customize their charters, customize.
That's a nice
tours.
place.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here 16 years, so I know all the tour guides and know all the boat captains, and so I'm here to kind of be more concierge service level for them. But what's helped have is, honestly, I moved here in 2004, luxury destination. Yeah, it was a tough call. And now with the resorts improvements in the homes too. I mean, the new builds homes, the improvement homes, as far as finding lodging for people is really improved.
You have your first guest in the history of Enjoy the Journey.
A very inappropriate first guest.
Wow, I feel honored.
Elizabeth, thank you for joining us today. So glad to have you on board. And Elizabeth, go pretty far back, because I was attending chamber functions for a while because I'm at Tybus, a friend of mine who was chairman back then. Then I finally drank the Kool-Aid and joined in 2014. Elizabeth took over as president soon after that, and I was on her board for a little while. And it's a tough thing to be on any board, especially the Chamber of Commerce. A lot of pressure as far as all things to do with. Elizabeth is a fantastic person, fantastic administrator, and I can't tell you, the information of late coming from the chamber has been valuable, time sensitive, and correct.
Wow. Thanks, David. Yeah, we're really trying to keep up to what I would say rumor control here in the Florida Keys, because it's still beautiful here. It's sunny. We're doing great. The community, we're going to be fine as usual after Irma, as you all know. That was our first test run, I guess. And now this is a bigger impact, but we'll get through it. I know we will. I'm very positive about that.
Well, let me give you the official introduction. And I always mispronounce your last name. It's Elizabeth Moscynski.
You know what? That's how the Polish would say it. So yes, Elizabeth Moscynski would be the Polish. Elizabeth Moscynski being the general public of America, I suppose.
Okay. And you're the president of the Key Largo Chamber of Commerce, which is the legendary.
Oh, yes.
Right, the legendary.
Oh, yes.
I love that tagline. So I'm on board today. First thing I want to talk about is, I'm all about positive, optimistic news, is before all hell fall off the wheels here with latest events, is there's a famous, a very prestigious award that Key Largo won. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So what was really great is that TripAdvisor had put out that Key Largo had surged in their ratings, basically, and we became the number one destination for a treading destination. And how we got that is all the positive comments that have gone out there from visitors that came into the Florida Keys, stayed in Key Largo, and the comments that they were putting on all the different chamber members, and as well as other people out there in Key Largo, the positive comments, how great people are, the kindness of the residents and the kindness of our businesses, and how we're willing to give a hand. So it was great. I mean, to hear that Key Largo got that, and they were the number one treading, that really, really it made me feel great, especially when you're dealing with the Florida Keys in the whole. We've got these beautiful island chains, and a lot of focus is on Key West, and it's great. Key West is wonderful. We, as I said, after Irma, Key Largo, Key West are the bookends, and now here you go. We're the number one treading destination, so I'm good.
Yeah, Key Largo is the gateway to the Keys. So
that's it.
And it's also, as the sign still says, the scuba diving capital of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Which is what brought me here. I told my story before you came on. You've heard it before. I came here for the diving, but stayed for the community. So
right, exactly. It's great. Yeah.
And actually, you didn't hear, but this being my first show, I told a lot about myself at the beginning and told my story. And I said I actually found Harry really through the chamber, because it was people from the Pirates on the Water, the Jimmy Buffett fan club up here in the Upper Keys, attending Key Largo Chamber Members Emotions. It was those people that got me involved in the Pirates. And it was at a Pirate social St. Patty's Day, May 15th last year at Caribbean Club. And Harry was doing, was it MJ Wicker?
Yes.
Video?
Yes.
Good memory. MJ, who's now a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and played at our January function and at our December luncheon. And anyways, MJ's doing a video, and this guy Harry was filming, and I got his card and said, hey, you ever thought about doing DJ cruises? And that's how it all started. So because of the chamber connections and the members of motion, because of the Pirates, I am here today doing the show. So Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We met Harry over 4th of July, if you remember Lacey. So,
Ooh, yeah. We had a good time.
Lacey. But anyways, it's all good. So we met that way too. And I found Harry very knowledgeable, but also very entertaining too. So.
Oh my God. I found Lacey very expensive. But it was a wonderful, wonderful event. I want to thank you for being there. How many years have you been the executive director of the Key Largo Chamber now?
Okay, so basically I started out in 2014 and I was the vice president.
Yeah, I remember.
Then Lacey left in 2016. So I'm coming up on, what year is this? 20. I guess this is my 4th year coming up in May as being their president. So yeah, it's great. I mean, I've enjoyed it. It's been a big learning lesson. I didn't come from this background. I happened to be a board member for another chamber and participated with not Key Largo Chamber, but participated with chambers throughout the country. And I always found them such a source of information, especially if you were new to a community. And I loved them. And I ended up being a board member up in Homestead a few years ago and ended up getting the job in Key Largo after I left a job with the government. So it was hard to give up my government security job. But on the other hand, I was ready for a change, and I love the change here. It's good. Key Largo is beautiful. The Florida Keys are beautiful. It's one of the best destinations to go to within the United States, if not the best. I love it.
So, Elizabeth, while we have you, I do want to end before you leave, telling us about what tourists should know right now about the Keys. But in general, people watching this, around our whole land of fans on Radio A1A, what does the Key Largo Chamber do, and why should they come see you when they first drive in here?
Okay, so basically, when you're first coming into the Florida Keys, we're going to be the Welcome Visitor Center that's on your right at mile marker 106. Everything in the Florida Keys is about mile markers. And if you hear MM 106, that's mile marker 106. So when you get into our facility, not only do we just offer information about the chamber members and our visitor center members itself, hotels, tourism, restaurants, bars, local doctors, all kinds of different information as a business group. So we have the best bathrooms in Key Largo when it comes.
They are nice.
And I know that sounds kind of weird, but you're on the road and you want to get into a restroom. You can be sure that our restrooms are clean and there's plenty of space. And that's one of the best things about coming into the visitor center. But after that, of course, we want you to stand by, and then we're going to give you all the information of places to go to, places that are free that you can come into the Florida Keys, like the Wild Bird Center, or go over to the Reef organization and different things like that. And it's just full of information, collected items. We have artists that have commissioned some artwork here, and we have that for sale. And then, of course, hotel information, their rates, and we'll even work with you if you don't have a hotel reservation and you happen to go on to like a TripAdvisor or whatever it might be. We'll give that hotel a phone call and say, look, their rates are this on TripAdvisor. Will you match? And 9 out of 10 times that hotel will match that rate, which is great because it saves them some commissions. And I know that maybe TripAdvisor won't like that, but it's great for our visitors because we're here to work for them and then also work with our hotels and our restaurants. So great place.
Yeah, I mean, it's very valuable with, any chamber of commerce does, but especially for the Key Largo, because it's, again, we're the gateway to paradise. And you're one of the first buildings tourists are going to see when they come to the Keys. And it's a great resource. It's a wonderful building. I mean, the fact that the chamber now owns the building and the land is an unbelievable resource for the community.
Oh, it is.
Now, on the other side of it, for more local people, because I give a few testimonies and the chamber has been very good for my business. So what does the chamber do for members locally?
Well, basically, our whole thing is it's helping with the referrals itself. So, of course, everybody's calling in about the tourists and this and doing that. But when the locals are calling in here, even tourists, when they're calling in, or visitors, and they're looking for either maybe it's a real estate agent or perhaps they do have a property and they're looking to do a closing, well, we're going to give the referrals of our members that are here, like, the different title agents and then also to other mortgage brokers and then real estate people as well. So that's a very, very positive thing that we do. If people are looking for construction, we do get residents that call in and maybe they want a boat dock fixed or they need to have a plumber come to their house or electrician. Then we're going to work with our current partners and get their referrals to the general public. And hopefully they get that referral and then they run with it, because I'll tell you, our businesses, they're all fabulous. I've not had complaints about any of them. Normally you get complaints, and we really, truly don't have complaints about our businesses down here. And I think, again, that's what put us to TripAdvisor, even though it's for tourists. Locals have their businesses on TripAdvisor as well. So it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy being a member of the Chamber, not just for the access. I'm in the magazine that's now out. It's a beautiful new magazine, by the way, you guys put out.
Thank you.
And also, being listed and being known. But the networking events to me are phenomenal. The lunches, I mean, phenomenal speakers, but also the network ability is there. But where you shine, I believe, is the members in motion.
Yeah.
Your bigger events, and obviously, together two organizations I've been in is obviously the Light Up Key Largo with the Chamber of Commerce and the Key Largo Community Preservation Foundation. That's just a marquee event that really kicks off the Christmas season. So I was looking forward to it, being at Chamber events, being with Chamber people. And it's been great for my business. I mean, bottom line, I have direct business from Chamber members and direct referrals. And obviously, the relationship for Harry has been just fantastic. And it's indirectly came from my Chamber relationship. So, and I know you're very busy today because I think you're on the phones by yourself there.
Oh, it's great. That's crazy. I love it, though. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad that we're able to support our community, our members for sure. But supporting the community here is very important.
Before we go, the biggest problem with the news right now, especially here, and I personally got burned by some misinformation. Is that so? What should tourists know right now? Like, is A1A blocked? Do they have a long-term lease? Do they have to leave? My uncle evicted on short notice, and they were dead wrong because they had a contract at the end of the month. It was very sad. I got a lot of extra food because of it, because he just went shopping.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah.
So as your view, just we don't need to know the details, and that's what news is for. But as a tourist right now, or as someone who works and lives somewhere else, what should they know right now watching the show?
Well, right now is that basically anybody that did have a reservation for a long-term rental, meaning let's say that they were coming down on April 1st and the rental was for 3 months or so, supposedly that they should have been able to come down here. But there was a lot of mixed messaging and confusion when it first all went out. Basically, right now, our hotels are closed to any additional reservations until otherwise deemed by Monroe County. Visitors were asked to leave at 6 p.m. last night, but there are a few people that had reservations to go out today and go out Wednesday, and certain exceptions can be made because there's things in place. And I think you understand the travel industry, David, that there's certain acts and disclaimers by the federal government on our travel tickets and so forth. And everybody needs to, comply and not overlook airports, especially right now, since the airports are extremely busy with people. Well, maybe not as much now as it was last week. So if you're thinking about coming to Key Largo, I would say just, stand by, make sure you're watching our website because we're keeping things pretty much up to date. Pardon me, not on the website. The Facebook seems to be our best issue of getting information out. So keep tuned to our Facebook page just to see what's going on. We don't recommend that people come down here that don't have essential business going on. For instance, if I had employees coming in today, which we are social distancing, and I have one lady that does come in from Homestead, she is welcome to come into work. I mean, right now, non-essential businesses are still open and people do have to work. So that's recognized. But if you're somebody that wants to come in for a day of day tripping and hanging out, our restaurants are basically closed down to just carry out and delivery services alone. And the boat ramps are closed, the fishing bridges are closed, the parks are closed, the beaches are closed. So there isn't a whole lot going on down here right now. But once we get through this, and hopefully we're getting that curve to get flat, I can see us being open, but I just can't predict when because I'm not the county. I wish I had a globe and a magic ball to say we're open for business. Let's get going. But right now we're just trying to flatten that curve. And I think that's where we need to be at this point. So if are coming down to shop in our grocery stores, we have the same items you have up north. No need to do that. But, we can't stop people from coming in that way. But we can just say everybody needs to be considerate and kind of each other. So that's what I would say to everybody right now.
Good. And then to clarify, so people who work here are fine. There's no roadblock on Route 1. They keep saying they're still under advisement. You don't need the county reentry sticker. I read that this morning. I actually went to the BOCC, the Monroe County website. Don't read the comments, just the news, by the way.
I know. Stick away from the comments because, everybody's the expert, and I know that they want. I know that everybody wants to get information out, but the worst information is the disinformation. And go for the facts. The county website is updated. Anytime something changed, that website is updated within the next hour of the change itself. We try to get those emails out, but the news last week, holy cow, it was changing every 10 minutes. So it was better to try to get everything all at once and then get it out to people, especially the sites that can help the employees. That's the biggest thing down here. And that's where it's hard right now. Our industry is tourism based, and our tourism based staff and employees before that they're the ones that are hurting right now because they're the tipped employees, service industry, the jet ski guys, the rental boat guys. These are people that depend on this economy and to get the business that comes in to support their families as well. So that's where we need to be diligent on getting something done for them. But as for the rest of it, as they used to say when I grew up, this too shall pass. And I'm hoping it passes really fast.
Well, and the good news for the Keys is when it does say, hey, everyone's back, there's not a year of recovery.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that was, when I was here for Irma, it was full swing. I had damage to my house and very fortunate with insurance to cover the damage. But I mean, there are still people fighting insurance. There are still people recovering. Some of our resorts didn't come back online for a full year. That's not going to happen this time.
No.
So people got to realize that how difficult it is, maintain the recommendations that are out there to make this thing pass quicker and to keep Keys in the mind. We're still going to be here with Route 1 open. And
absolutely.
And when we come back online, we got a lot of eager people to serve you.
Absolutely.
To serve you well, because we do it very well in the Keys.
Oh, absolutely. And they do. I mean, Key Largo is just, anywhere you go, everybody has such a great attitude. And the whole thing with US 1 closing down, what people don't understand, when this hurricane situation took place with Irma, and, laws change and regulations change when certain emergency power acts are put into place. So yes, they can close that road down because they don't want people coming in as they're trying to evacuate the people out. Then when the roads are ready to reopen, they'll reopen. But until then, they have to maintain that everything is safe to bring people back in. That's not the case right now. So US 1, at this time will not be closing, but if things change with the governor or things change with the federal government, and if they put a lockdown on, then sure, things are going to change. But they aren't going to close that road anytime soon. And especially those residents that might be out of the area right now and are panicked about having to get back, they can get back in. It's no problem. If you're a construction worker and you're working on a job, let's say at Fisherman's Hospital, if Fisherman's Hospital still has the job site going, they want their workers to come in. We got to get that hospital going. So right now, stay away from the Facebook rumors and pay attention to the county, pay attention to our Facebook and our members that are taking and passing our posts on to other sites as well. So that's where we need to be.
Exactly. Only follow credible sources. So
absolutely. So misinformation is the worst information.
People may know, but in case they don't, so what are the two Facebook pages you mentioned, the two websites?
Okay, so basically, our Facebook page is basically Key Largo Chamber of Commerce, so they can do a quick Facebook search of that and we'll pop up. And then the Monroe County BOCC. So they have a Facebook page too. Yep. I believe if you put in the Monroe County BOCC, you'll pull that up. Yes. And it has all the accurate information on it. It has the website for Monroe County they can go right to. And it's a great website. It gives you links to the Florida Department of Health, the CDC, World Health Organization, and pretty up to date, I would say.
May I ask a question? If a person within driving distance were planning a day trip, you pack your car, you gas it up. For instance, last night I ordered a gourmet pizza from Bayside Gourmet, and they delivered it and set it out outside my door. So there are places that you can drop by, and they will bring out food for you. And driving to Key West and back is a day trip, basically. Right. Almost a half a day. And if you're getting some cabin fever, the Keys are open for a drive down the All-American Highway, right? It's a beautiful drive.
Yeah, I would say so. But, I don't want to promote that because I don't want, some of our locals to get mad at us. But, if you're staying in your car, Harry, and you are social distancing and you're healthy, what's the difference? I mean, you go get a pizza, stay in your car, take a video, and then get out. I mean, I think that there is no issue with that.
Right.
People that are coming in to think that they're going to get a hotel room or they're going to sit in a dining room or something like that. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
No, or go to a state park. I think nothing's here. You can't go snorkeling. You can't. You can't enjoy the reef or the water or fishing or those normal things. But you can go drive by and see some unusual sights. One of my favorite things was driving around after a hurricane and seeing how things had changed. The curiosity is. And I'm getting a little cabin fever in here, even though we're virtual to the world. So you guys, thank you so very much for taking a part of this. And Elizabeth, I'm going to tell you something. You do a fantastic job, doesn't she, David? Doesn't she?
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely fantastic job.
Thank you both. It's what we do, David. I mean, we're all a big, happy family down here. We're one big team. And, we might have an opinion of this or opinion of that, but when we all come together, we're here for this community. Yeah. And, I love it. I mean, this is what we do. And unfortunately, this is the time that the chamber ends up shining. And I don't like shining in these moments, but it's the best thing that we can do for our members and our community is keep you all posted to what's happening.
We just got a message.
Doing what you do.
We just got a message from Israel. My favorite drive ever. My favorite drive ever. Isn't that wonderful? There are people listening all over. So, David, and Elizabeth, if there's anything that you can, let's talk to our businesses right now. Let's just say that there are a lot of your members out there, Elizabeth, listening to this right now, and we're streaming this to 7 Facebook pages and all over the place, YouTube. But what would you say to your members right now?
What I'd say to them is just keep strong, hold on there. There's relief coming. One thing, and I don't want to be political because I really I try to take a step back from being political. But right now, there's an important stimulus package out there in the Senate. That package needs to pass. It's going to help our workers. It's going to help our businesses. It's talking about keeping your payroll going, keeping people employed. We need to get this help to our people and this American economy. And our economy is going to help the world economy. So if we can get ourselves back into shape, the rest of the world will follow. And that's very important right now, that they need to be bipartisan. They need to get out there and show that they can work together and get this done. But that package is really, really important. So if you're a business owner or a resident that wants to see their businesses continue and employees thrive and our community thrive, call your congressmen and women, and let them know we need this bill to pass as fast as possible. As to our businesses, hang in there. We're going to get back. The road to recovery will be good once we finally get these doors back open again. And just hang tight. Do the best you can for your employees right now. And if your employees need help or they've been laid off, get them on the unemployment as soon as, or reemployment, as what they say in Florida. Get them out there and do it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. That's what these services are in place for. Take advantage of them. I encourage my employees, if I have to let them go, get out there, get the reemployment insurance, and we'll be back running as soon as possible. Right now, we're okay. I worry if it goes on for too much longer. We can't have this going too much longer. So everybody needs to flatten the curve. So right now, if you can stay away from people, do it, and we'll get it flattened. It'll go away eventually, but I'd like to see it go away sooner than later.
We all would, Elizabeth. Well, thank you for your time today. I know, again, you're very busy at the chamber.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wonderful lady.
And we'll do this again soon, and hopefully it'll be a much more positive scene, and it'll be outdoors maybe at the chamber building.
Absolutely. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Thank you.
See you later, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Appreciate all you do.
Goodbye.
Bye. Take care.
David, she was wonderful, huh?
As always, Elizabeth always performs. I've been at the chamber as a member since she took over, and actually was on the board, I believe. Yeah, since I think she was already in charge as president when I was on the board there for a few years. And she does a phenomenal job. It's not easy what she does, and that chamber has a lot of challenges. They're facing a lot of drop in visitor traffic coming into the building, mostly because of the internet and just come out other competing areas, competing venues and things. So that's a lot of what they were doing for income, was their actually incoming traffic and then sales and commissions they generate from there going there. So they have a challenge ahead of them, as always. And first it was Irma, now this. And as we all do, and I thought her word to businesses was very relevant. I attended a bridge seminar yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm sorry, last week, just to learn more about what bridge loans are in case I had to cross that bridge, which I don't want to do. But You do what you have to, and that's what the businesses. The last thing you do now is forget what we have here as a gift that we have, and start blaming others or start blaming yourself. No, it's no one's fault for where we are. You can only, as I said, pay attention to the credible sources, listen to their recommendations, avoid the comments, and do what's right, and we'll all be back here. A lot of things are going to look different in 2 months when things are back online. Travel is going to look very different. The cruise line's going to look very different. A whole episode on that. And down here may look different too, but just be positive and stay in contact with your people and have them do the right thing. If it's reemployment insurance, if it's getting loans, if it's just saying, hey, take a break, come back. Whatever your business has that requires you to come back 100%, do what you can to keep that in place. That's my message here. And just enjoy the journey. Think about where we're going to be in 2 months, 3 months, and not tomorrow. That's the main thing.
Each Monday you are going to be here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wherever you may be in the world, are you going to take this on the road?
I will broadcast from every Monday wherever I can if I have the internet connections. And for right now, I'm obviously going to be here at my home in Key Largo, so we all are out moving. And I don't have any really broad, long-term travel, like international travel plan for a while. Even despite nothing's been canceled, I have nothing on the books for a while. This is a busy time of year for me. So I do want to mention where people can get a hold of me. I just forgot that at the beginning.
Please do,
I'm best reached by phone and email. I have that website, bucketwishtrip.com, but there's not much there. I mostly use it for my groups to register for like cruises and tours. I mean, really just give me a call, 305-453-9208. It's my direct line. It comes to my home office here. There's a landline. You can't text it, but it does forward to my cell phone, so I get all the messages. And then I'm on Facebook. David W. Hartman is my personal page. You can message me there. And then also, obviously, Fantastic Endeavors, where we stream the show at, is my business page. So there's a lot of ways to find me, and it's always good to kind of send a note and schedule time to talk. And let me hear what you have going on. I mean, we have a lot to talk about. We had some questions today, but we can always push those off here. I know we have a minute left, so we'll keep those because there are more general travel questions. I mean, there's some specific questions. We can't answer everything. I mean, a lot of times I will probably, Harry can send me the questions and I'll answer them later. I'll push you back to the main source. But we are here to make sure people understand that travel is fun. travel's transformational, and it can really change your life, and whether it's to the Keys or around the world. Now, I happen to live in a very inspirational destination, and when I travel, we're only an hour from Miami, an hour and 20 from Fort Lauderdale, so it's easy for us to go places. So we're very fortunate we have that, luxury. But we're here to make sure you understand what the Keys travel is all about. When's the best time to come back to the Keys, and when's the best time to come back to travel? As I said, plan now. It's a buyer's market right now for travel.
It is indeed. That's been David Hartman with Enjoy the Journey, y'all, on Radio A1A. Yeah, fantastic endeavors. We'll be back next week, Monday, and David will be right here with us, too. So stand by, everybody, for more Virtual Monday coming up on Radio A1A.
Thank you. Enjoy the journey. See you next week.
We're headed south with morning sunlight. Take a trip down that blue road. A1 AM. That's the way we